It's 9 minutes to 8. Now, the new laws, you've been hearing about this in the news bulletins, designed to make us all safe when we go online and onto social media, will not come into force fully until next spring. And yet there are already questions about whether the legislation, it's taken a fair while to get, is robust enough. The Technology Secretary, Peter Kyle, is today telling the regulator Ofcom to be more assertive with the technology companies which provide our gateway to the online world and some of the horrifying and harmful content which lies there. Peter Kyle, Secretary of State for Science, Innovation and Technology. Good morning to you. I suppose I start there. Will you be prepared? Will you toughen up the Online Safety Act?
Good morning, Emma. I'll do what it takes to keep people, particularly children and people with vulnerabilities, safe online. What I'm trying to do, and you can see with the letter of strategic intent that I've issued today, is to try and just create a regulatory environment which is agile, it is reflexive, but it is also more assertive going forward, because there are more powers which are being released to Ofcom. I just want to make sure that Ofcom knows that government expects them to be used, expects them to be used in a way that keeps moving forward. So, for example, age verification is one that's coming into force from January, and additional powers coming in the spring, as you said, and into the summer. I want to make sure that tech companies know that if they don't take very seriously the need to keep young people protected from certain activity online and certain websites online, that there will be assertive response to it. But also,
is there a mandatory requirement for technology firms to enforce the minimum age?
There will be next year from January, and then the first set comes in January. Another set of rules go live in the summer. Look, I inherited a sort of unsavoury landscape when it came to the legislation. Yes. When we came in, but I now have to make sure that these rules get into statute, that they add up to an environment where, and this is the overall philosophy I'm trying to move towards, where safety is baked in from the outset. So in other words, algorithms are there to protect people, not to exploit vulnerabilities. So
I suppose I'm just going back to your words in the summer. You said, we're 4 months on now. The Online Safety Act was clearly a bit leaky at the moment. What have you done in those months since?
What I've done is use the powers I have creatively to tackle some of those areas that I think there are gaps in the law. So, for example, for intimate image abuse, I used a power a few weeks ago, which means that to insist that social media companies use the algorithms to prevent intimate images from going online in the first place. They had to proactively demonstrate to our regulator, Ofcom, that the algorithms would prevent that material going on in the first place. And if an image did appear online, they needed to be taken down as fast as reasonably could be expected after being alerted. Now, there were heavy fines for violating that, and it's one area where you can see that harm is being prevented rather than actually getting out into society and then us dealing with it afterwards, which is what was happening before. Now, thousands and thousands of women are now prevented from having the degradation, the humiliation, and sometimes being pushed towards suicidal thoughts because of that one power that I enacted.
Well, there are those who still worry about this act. They worry about Ofcom's abilities to do this. Just because I need to ask you about winter fuel today, especially with temperatures dropping. Just a quick thing here, which many are mooting, an Australian-style ban on social media for under 16s. Will you do that?
Everything is on the table with me,
Emma,
into the future. Well, what I want to do is look at the evidence. I'm also launching a feasibility study today to look at the areas where evidence is lacking. It is a frustration.
Don't we already know all of this? It's been done by several experts. We had one on earlier.
No, there are assumptions about the impact it has on children and young people, but there is no firm peer-reviewed evidence.
Okay, so when you've got that, you will look at it.